interest because I could afford it and I worked really hard. It's like, no, Grandpa, you could afford it because houses cost 2 raspberries. But when houses cost a fortune, even 6% is incredibly unaffordable. That's essentially what we have right now, except on a national level. Sure, the rates are relatively low to where they were in the 80s, but our mortgage amount, aka our debt, has never been higher. So we can't sustain these higher rates. And that's why Jamie Dimon's pointing out that if the bond market starts to crack under this pressure, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, this next slide from Lyn Alden's research ties directly into why our government keeps borrowing so much money. This chart right here is the Social Security Trust Fund, which shows us how much money the government has set aside to pay for future retirement benefits. And you can see that it started from basically zero in the 1980s, and it grew steadily for decades. And then it peaked sometime around 2017 at about $3 trillion. But now it's dropping really fast, and it's expected to hit zero within the next decade or so. Why? Because of demographics. Japan is the perfect example of this, but we also have a problem in the US. Baby boomers, which is the biggest generation in US history, are now retiring by the millions. And the government has to pay their benefits, everything from healthcare to Social Security. And for years, the government collected extra money from boomers while they were working, but unfortunately, our government did not invest that money really well. That Social Security Trust Fund went mostly into US Treasury bonds, whose real interest rates were about in line with inflation. So now that boomers are retiring, the government is forced to sell those bonds back into the market to pay for their benefits, draining that trust very fast. And here's the bigger problem. If that fund runs out, the government can't just stop paying Social Security because those benefits are guaranteed by law, and retirees depend on them to live. So the government only has 2 choices: raise taxes, which no politician wants to do, cut spending, which no politician wants to do, or borrow even more money, which just pushes us deeper into this entire cycle. Again, bonds are at the center of all of this, and this demographic shift sort of explains exactly why the government debt problem is not just temporary, it's structural and basically unavoidable.